2023 is going to be a monstrous year for mobile gaming, especially for anime genre types of mobile gaming. So much so that even a top 10 video that we typically do won't even come close to the amount of amazing games coming out in 2023. I guess I'm going to have to do a top 50. Welcome on in, everyone. My name is Kyrios, and today we're going to be taking a look at
Higan Eruthyll.
Now, we were lucky enough to get into the closed beta to be able to review this game. And this is one of the games I'm very excited for, and I am still very excited for, TLDR. Higan's got some amazing graphics and voice acting. A very unique combat style that merges multiple different type of genres. Yo, like the animations. And an all-star cast of waifus and husbandos. Next year. Two-star. Oh, 3-star, let's go! Yes! So, without further ado, let's go take a look in another stunning edition of First Impressions. All right, let's start off with the one that I think everyone cares about, which is the combat. Now, the combat is a auto chess system with a card system kind of stacked on top of each other. Now, that sounds very confusing, but on screen, you can see that we're essentially choosing 3-4 members on our party to put on a field. And then when the battle actually starts, you'll use these different cards in order to either heal, do damage, do crowd control abilities like stunning, or to just taunt or move or pull. And there's a ton of different abilities here. And these cards will recharge over time. And then there's also ultimates that you can activate. Now, these get charged over time if you use other cards or if you stun a boss. Now, what I really liked about the combat is that it just felt good and fluid. Every single mission, we've had to change our team up, and it just felt very thought after. And there was different ways that you can tackle any individual fight. Maybe you liked being melee heavy, so you put the right units in the right spots to be able to tank it. Maybe you're very range heavy and you wanted to bring a bunch more healers or a bunch more AoE, or maybe the fight called for it because there was enemies that do AoE explosions on death, or there was enemies that just would chew through your tank, so you had to bring multiple tanks to be able to take those hits. What I also liked about the system is that the autoing was very, very smart. Sometimes when you turn on autoing, it's just like a cycle, and you got to make sure that your units are in the right order to make sure they get that cycle correctly. And it seemed like the auto system had some sort of AI to it. It knew when to heal. It knew when to do AoE. It knew when to use abilities. Now, sometimes it was off, but it felt actually really, really good. Going further into the combat system is based on the RGB system. So when you pull waifus or husbandos, they'll have different elements on them. They have the red, green, blue, and then they also have the light and dark. Now, the red, green, blue system does work like any other red, green, blue. Red does good against green. Green does good against blue. Blue does good against red. While light and dark do very good against each other. Another thing about the combat, it does require you to be better. New enemy types are introduced throughout the story, and you'd be wise to remember these types because sometimes they require pushing the enemy away, sometimes they would require you pulling the enemy in, and sometimes they would require you to stun the enemy as they're trying to use their moves. The only issue I had with some of these fights was that I needed to bring 2 healers in, but that may have been because I wasn't optimized in leveling or wasn't optimized in upgrading my skills. So before we talk about the characters, let's talk about the story real quick. The story was amazing. It was engaging. It was funny at times. It was sad at times.
団長聞いた？私たちのユーフェが珍しく考えていますよ。答えまで導き出しました。知恵熱を出していないかしら。こんにちは、マスター。あなたをお待ちしておりました。
私の導きで試練を突破し、あなたに眠る力を目覚めさせましょう。
It was epic at times, and they had great music that went along with it as well. Now, the whole main story is voiced in Japanese, and they brought in a ton of famous Japanese voice actors and actresses. I was actually impressed by how much of this story there is. Your first day playing the game, you could probably play for like 6 hours straight before hitting a wall and do a ton of story. All right, before we bust into the characters, let's talk about the summoning, because I know everyone cares about summoning. Now, the summoning system is actually a little confusing at times, where when you go into the summoning section, there is literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different banners. And then there's these play selections on top of it that are kind of like set bonus for your characters, which will make more sense in the next section. And you'll have 2 different resources, one for summoning plays, which you can get premium resources and use them for both, but you'll be able to earn both other currencies in the game. And then there's also a third currency that allows you to grab a couple wishes towards a limited character that are in the different events. And the events are really generous on the amount of currency they give and the amount of other materials they give. Now, the only thing I would say is that you just be very careful with the summoning you do. It's a little confusing on trying to figure out which banner to pull on. And then there's always from what I was able to tell, there's a limited banner, and you're able to get points towards this progression system that once you hit 50, 100, 150, 300, I mean, that's a lot of summoning in my opinion. But every single step of the way, you're able to get additional rewards and resources, and then essentially you can get essences to be able to just straight summon out the character you're looking for. So that might be one of the best ways to do it. We'll have to test that out once the game actually goes live. Now let's talk summoning rates real quick. The summoning rate is a little confusing, but it's 2%, which is pretty good for 5 stars. And I do want to point out that sorry, not 5 stars, but 3 stars is what I want to say. 3-star characters is a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star system. Now, the 1 stars, 2 stars, and 3 stars, they're all good. You'll use them all. And the progression of 1 stars and 2 stars are actually really good in this game. So whenever you pull a 2-star and a 1-star, it's actually a good thing. And like, I didn't feel bad about any of those summons. And that's great, because there's a lot of 1 stars that I used in my party all the time. And as I was able to upgrade them to 2 stars and 3 stars and beyond, it just felt better and better, which was absolutely amazing. Now going back to those rates again, now you get 2% overall for your 3-star characters. Now, once you've made 50 wishes without receiving a 3-star or a 5-star play reward, that's why it gets a little confusing, 5-star versus 3-star, you get in a rising percentage of up to 4. And then after that, every chance of every single wish will increase by 2% until capping to 100%. Now, pulling the character you're looking for does have a 50-50 shot, so that effectively means about every 80 summons, you're always guaranteed a 3-star. But it may not be the 3-star you're looking for. Now, quickly going over to the roster. Now, the roster I have here is not the best roster, but it's a really good roster. I actually pulled a few 3-stars, and I'm using a few 1-stars and 2-stars in here because you really need to level up a variety of elements. You're going to need every single element, or enough of at least 2 types of elements, so that you're not always getting destroyed on the battlefield. Now, the thing I do really like is that if you have like a 1-star, 2-star, or 3-star, you can easily ascend them by you can easily awaken them by just pulling dupes, and every single dupe just feels very beneficial. This is the dupe system. And even though this takes 8, this is because we're at a 3-star. If I was to go to any kind of 1-star or anything like that, it's a little bit easier to bring your 1-stars to 2-star, and then your 2-stars, the 3-star, and so on and so on. The only annoyance is that I wish I could just spam click this a little bit harder at times to get through it. But you know, it is what it is. Now, looking through a specific character, this is Rita, and this is one of my favorite characters that I had in the game as I played. Now, my character is level 30, but capped out on level 30. Now, your cap is dependent on your refinement of your Bristol weapon. So as you refine your weapon every single time, you can see mine's at 2-star. If I was to refine this up to 3-star, it would allow my character to progress another 10, 20, 30 levels. But every single time you refine, it gets a little harder and harder where you need additional materials. But it wasn't the worst thing in the world, or at least at the early portions of the game, and a pretty cool system. In addition to that system, we do have a talent tree system that opens up later in about chapter 4, and it allows you to get some additional talents to level up your characters. Now, I believe when you're leveling this up, you can only select so many, but you might be able to unlock all of them. I just never got that far. Character skills are varied depending on what you need that character to do. So in the later portions of the game, especially when you get to the roguelike style of the game, you're going to need to change up your characters probably all the time, or a decent amount. Now, you will have your ultimate ability that stays the same, and you can upgrade abilities. You'll have your passive ability, which is very important, so you'll have to take into account passive abilities when you're building teams together. And then you'll have your basic ability that allows you to do more damage, just auto attacking. In addition to that, you do have active skills that you can do via those cards we talked about. And then there's 2 different ones, and you can upgrade them independently. Now, I never got far enough to open up the second one, but it does open your variety and your options of how you build the different characters to be in your different teams. Some characters will have like healing abilities, buffing abilities, and some will just be straight damage on both of their activatable skills. Now, those play selections that we talked about in the previous summon are what is the inspiration attribute in the set bonuses. Now, I was never able to get a 2-set or a 3-set, but if I'm clicking on any of these plays, you can equip them, and there's 3 slots that you can equip them into on any given character. And then if you put the set bonuses together, like here on this one that we're looking at, gives you a max HP increases by 3,500. And then at the 3-set bonus, upon full chant, I don't even know what the chant is, it must be a specific character that really benefits from that. The next basic attack will deal magic damage. So I wouldn't use magic damage on this character. What I do like is that they do have a recommendation, so you can find the ones that you really care about. All right, next up on the list, we do have the trope, and this is kind of your base of operations and how you upgrade different portions. Now, a lot of this will upgrade as you go through the game, and you can unlock a lot of these different buildings. And these buildings are going to allow you to do different things, from your expedition room that allows you to send out troops and teams to get different resources, to your training hall, which is called the rehearsal hall, where you'll bring your characters in to be able to train them up to enhance their power. We talked about those events earlier in the video, and those events are very well thought out. I mean, just even look at the gacha shop that you get from doing the event. You get all these different materials here, how many are remaining. And then as you go through the event, there's actually multiple, 2, 3, 4, and every single one gives you more and more materials. So they do give you a decent amount to do, and it does help you out on being able to pull at least a little bit of some of those limited characters on that banner, on that specific banner. In addition to that, you do have the Outlands, and Outlands is your base of operations. From your arc tasks, from getting different currencies, to your dreambacks for doing character specific side quests or character quests. Your elemental rhapsody, this is how you get the different tokens that you need to be able to upgrade that weapon, to ascend it up. And then we're going to get to the part that is my favorite thing in the world, is the mesmerizing labyrinth. And there's a few other things as well, tower challenge and stuff like that. Now, what I really like about the labyrinth is it's a roguelike where you can enter on in, you can choose the battle, you can choose to go against hard battles, aka bosses, or you can choose to find different shops or different locations and items. It's a choose your own adventure and see how far you can go with the team that you have. You'll get different buffs and different perks along the way, so you really have to plan out those perks that you pick to be able to progress. All right, everyone, that's all I've really got. That was I had a ton of fun playing this game, and this is one of the games I will definitely be playing in 2023. And I didn't even come close to explaining every single system. It honestly, every single system needs its own video, and we'll probably do its own individual video on all the systems and a lot of the different characters. I love the story, I love the voice acting, I just love the progression, and it felt a little free to play friendly as well. I did not feel pressured to buy, I didn't feel pressured to do any of these different packages, and we didn't even get into the shop because the shop needs a whole nother video. So if you guys do like the video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Make sure you go pre-register for Higan. It is coming out very, very soon. I don't have an exact launch date, but it is coming out very soon. I will see you guys on the next video. Thank you so much for checking out the first impressions. Take it easy and fist bump from me to you.